Okay, so in this video we're going to be making a fish pond cum coffee table. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this half barrel as the base, and I bought some glass, reinforced glass. Very important to use a reinforced glass, and that is going to go on top. And I've got some other bits and pieces, but at this stage what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more waterproofing to this, and obviously make it look nicer just by giving the outside a bit of a sand, the inside to give it a key, and then I'm going to use some Danish oil on this. I did some reading on the Danish oil. When I bought the Danish oil, I bought it for some worktops that I put into my kitchen, but as I understand, it is also suitable for outside furniture, so I'm going to give it a crack with the Danish oil and see how we get on from there. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is to sand the outside. Give the barrel a key so that the Danish oil will hold on to it. Bit of a tip: when you sand something like this, or indeed paint it, or stain it, varnish it, etc. If it's got a handle, start at one of the handles and work your way around. Then you'll know when you come back to the beginning. I mean, with painting, obviously that's not such a problem because you can see where you painted. But with something like sanding, and sometimes actually with quick drying varnishes and lacquers, etc., it can be quite difficult to see. So by starting at this handle and rotating your barrel all the way around 360 degrees, you can keep track certainly of where you've been, as it were. For fear of stating the obvious, if you're going to do something like this and you're going to end up putting a volume of water can be quite heavy, can cause quite a lot of pressure. So it's important when you choose the vessel that you're going to eventually put your pond liner in and the water, to make sure that it's reinforced, and obviously this one is by these black bands, in the same way that a real traditional barrel would be supported. So I'm of the mind that this is going to be strong enough given the volume of water that's going into this project. I won't be putting the Danish oil on the bottom simply because I've used a wood treatment which is for which I would normally use on decking or fencing, just to give the bottom a little bit of protection, so I don't actually need to do any prep work to the base there whatsoever. The other thing that I now need to do, of course, is to brush this down to get rid of all the sawdust. And there we go. I'm going to be using Danish oil. I'm sorry about the label on this, but this is quite an old tin. I've put a little drop into a plastic container with a lid so I can reseal that between coats. I'm now going to do the whole of the inside and the whole of the outside. Okay, once you've finished, pop the lid back on here, obviously, that'll stop that drying. And your brushes can be washed out in warm soapy water. I've got a bit of a spill down here, you probably can't see it from there, but a bit of a spill down here. I'm going to clean that up because it does go quite hard on the surface, and it's going to give me an uneven surface on my worktop there. So we're going to pop our liner over the barrel and try and get the liner central. Bit tricky. That'll be about right, I think. And now I'm going to push the liner down, lifting each of the sides each time I do it as I go. And the name of the game here is to get the liner down snug against the bottom. And now that we've got the liner touching the walls in the base all the way round, what I'm actually going to do is hope there's no holes in it, because I'm working indoors. I'm going to put some water in that to act as a weight to hold the liner down on the base. So I've got a bucket of water, here we go. That should now hold that liner in place. And there we are, the pond liner fitted. Like I say, there are pleats in it, they don't really matter an awful lot. Now what we need to do is we need to trim off the excess. This is going to be a bit tricky to fit, and you might want to get two pairs of hands to do it, because you need to get this so that you've got about a 10mm overhang. And again, we can staple this in a couple of places. staples are to a degree going to hold it in place, but these pins will ensure it actually stays where it needs to do. Now the quick run round and a quick count up, and there are 38 of these slats. So I'm going to put 38 pins in the top, and I'm going to hopefully try and get them central in that wood. And I'll just start off, then I'll use my nail guide, which is a simple piece of wood with a slot cut out of it, put underneath, and that will just make sure that hopefully I'm upright, but also that I've got the correct height on each of these, because like I say, there's a piece of glass, toughened glass, that's going to sit on top of the these pins. And there's our glass top sitting on top of these pins. If you find that when you put these pins in, this gauge is something like 22mm deep. If you find that the pins are going to be too flimsy, then all you need to do is find a thinner piece of wood. The principle's the same. Thinner piece of wood, cut the groove into it, pop it onto the nail, and knock these nails down a bit further, which I'm actually inclined to do given the weight of this piece of glass. I searched eBay for coffee tables and tables, etc, etc, and I couldn't find anything. We were talking about 60, 70, 80 pounds for a coffee table upwards, or an old dining table, and most of them came with a hole in the middle. Now I found this company. It was a company that are based in the Netherlands, and I think this piece of glass, which from memory measures 700 in diameter, and I think it was about £28. Like I say, it's toughened glass. It's a good chunky piece of glass. It's got a nice polished bevel edge on it, and that's going to be safe enough to be putting glasses or cups or whatever on when it's actually out on the patio. The next stage will be for me to fit a pump, put some plants in the tub, obviously fill the tub up, and I've got a bar light which I'm going to fit right across the top, which in this case will be blue and should give off a nice blue glow. I'll face the light towards the water, but we'll deal with that as and when we come to it. So I made up a new nail gauge, just a scrap of wood, you see, cut a new groove into it, etc, and I just bang those nails a little bit lower. And now I'm going to fill the pond up. Obviously I've placed it close to where it's going to be going, because once you've got the water in there, it's going to be quite heavy. I'm going to use a bucket, because reading up on the internet, so many people seem to suggest that using a hose can be bad in terms of the water for the fish. It can contain chemicals within the hose itself, but apparently using a plastic bucket is going to be alright. So we're going to fill it up to so far, and then I'm going to test out the pump that I've got and see how that performs in there. I've stopped at 5 buckets of water in total. One that I previously put in while we were indoors putting the liner in, and another 4, because it's a convenient number to stop at. This is 10 litre bucket, so I've got 50 litres of water in there at the moment. So if I need to work out anything in terms of chemicals or otherwise, I know that I've got 50 litres in there. It's an easy number to stop at. First thing I am going to do is I'm going to do a pH test on the water. We use these for our spa. They're clear water dip tests to test a number of things, but in this case I'm looking for the pH levels of the water, so that I can, if necessary, I can adjust that prior to putting plants or fish in there. And all these are a bit like when you was at school. They're kind of like a little bit of litmus paper with 3 different pads on. Okay, so I'm going to dip that water now. And then I shall check this against the gauge. And according to this, the pH level of that water is less than 6.8. It's so much less that it's off the scale. And I just need to check now to see whether I've got to adjust that up or down prior to putting fish in there. I will also check it prior to putting any fish or plants. Any fish in there, to make sure that it is safe. The next thing to do is to put our pump in and see exactly what the pump does. Again, this is another internet purchase. I bought this from eBay at about £11. I think it pushes about 1200 litres of water per hour. It's a submersible pump, and it's variable as well. So it's got there's your pump. It's got a variable switch on the side for changing the speed of the water. And as it stands at the moment, I'm literally going to, it does have a little filter on the end as well. I'm literally going to put it in as is at the moment and see exactly what it does. That is exactly the effect I was trying to achieve, and that's going to help to oxygenate the water for the fish, and just providing us with a few air bubbles which should help to oxygenate our pond, so that's good. And so now we're ready to pop the glass on. Which I shall do very carefully. Making sure we're central. Give that a bit of a clean up. I'm just going to plug my light in now. Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit more water in that, and in this sunlight you're never going to see this, but that's looking quite nice. And a few days time that'll be ready. I'll only get one fish, pop the fish in there, see how that does. Hopefully the little chap will be alright. And then when the grandchildren come over the weekend, they can venture out, get some fish, give them a name, pop them in there, and happy days. And there we are, our finished table, ready to enjoy in the lovely summer sunshine.